Hi, I'm Cindy Costales, Senior Librarian at the Monterey Park Bruggemeyer Library. We're here today with Pauline Lemire. She's president of the Historical Society of Monterey Park, and we're celebrating Women's History Month at the library. And so we've partnered with the museum in Monterey Park, and we're very excited with a hat collection that we have on loan from the museum. And so Pauline is here today to talk about the history regarding these hats, some of the women that wore them, and just to take us into Women's History Month and help us to celebrate it at the library.
Hi. Just so everyone knows, women before the turn of the 20th century did not wear hats. If you recall, the ladies crossing the country wore bonnets, or they would have scarves on their heads, but the hats were delegated to the men, and they wore the hat that suggested the profession that they were in. But Queen Victoria changed that at the turn of the 20th century, and women started to wear hats. And I'm sure that everybody remembers the 20s, the flapper age, and this is one of the hats that would have been worn. And along that same era, Laura Scudder moved to Monterey Park. She's one of our famous ladies, the potato chip lady, and this is one of the hats that she wore. And so we're very proud to have it in our museum.
That's a beautiful hat. I really like that hat with, I think I've seen a picture of Laura Scudder wearing that hat.
Yes. And the one on the top shelf here is sometimes referred to as a pancake hat, and Eleanor Roosevelt wore that type of hat quite often. You would see her in the newsreels with them.
What about this hat right here with that beautiful...
Okay. Well, growing up, the department stores would have teas, so the ladies would not necessarily meet for lunch, but they would go shopping and then meet to go to a tea, and then this would be the elegant hat that they would wear to impress all of their friends.
Can you tell us about the hat right here? It's underneath this picture, but it looks like it's all made out of felt. And it is quite pretty. It kind of reminds me of a winter hat.
Probably was worn. One of the things that I remember growing up was that as a young girl, I was always encouraged to wear a hat, and especially something like felt would keep the heat in, because I was born in New England, so that made a big difference. And that would have been a winter hat that the ladies would have worn to keep the heat in the body.
Mm-hmm. Now we have some more hats over here, and they're very interesting in the colors and the textures that they're made out of.
I'm not familiar with the black hat, but perhaps you can tell us about that. I believe that our librarian has loaned it to us.
Yes, this is a special hat. City Librarian Barbara Morrow Williams, when she heard about how we were putting together the hat collection, she decided to look for a hat that she knew her mother had. And so that is her mother's hat. And it is quite beautiful. It also is sort of made out of felt, and it has like a long train of some kind of like soft material that hangs down.
I imagine it would have looked very elegant. Now, I loved this hat because if you didn't have time to wash your hair or put it up in pin curls the night before or in rollers, all you did was put all the hair up on top of your head and tuck the hat around it, so all it was showing was the hat, and you looked like you just stepped out of a bandbox.
It kind of reminds me, too, of something that we might have seen Lana Turner wear in a movie.
Very, very well could have been the late 40s.
Mm-hmm. What about this hat right next to, right here, this one that has pink?
Again, that would have been the kind of a hat that you would have worn to a wedding or to a very elegant reception. It was not something necessarily seen in an everyday situation, but those, and also the one here that looks feathery. The early hats that had feathers, they were all real feathers that were taken and dried. Today, if you bought a hat like that, it would be all plastic, but that would be all real feathers. So.
Now, the hat right here, the one that's left, it's covered with net and it has some flowers. And I can remember my mother wearing a hat that looks similar like that to that.
Right, and I think that would have been chosen perhaps to go to a Sunday church and to look very elegant and yet very respectful. It didn't have any frou-frou on it.
Now, this is just a small sampling of the hats that the museum has. Pauline, can you tell us a little bit about the museum, where it's located? Because we really want to encourage people to go and visit the museum. There's just so much to learn there about our city and about history.
Okay, the museum is located in Garvey Ranch Park, and I think most people know where that is. The street address is a little bit more difficult to find, but it's 781 Orange Avenue, and it will be just north of Graves, right by the reservoir. And our museum has one room that has all replicas of the 21 California missions. And then we have lots of old tools and a corner for Loris Cutter, of course, our famous lady. And then we have also a lot of the old things of the toys. We have a sled if you want to go sledding. We've had a lot of snow this winter. But I think when people come by, whether they have children with them or not, everyone really enjoys visiting the museum. It's free. We're open Saturdays and Sundays from 2 to 4.
That's great. We really hope people can go visit the museum. The hat display here at the library will be on display from March 1st through the 31st, so we really want to encourage the public to come out and look at it. And also, there are a few photographs in the display cases next to the hats that are from our Artist of the Month, Enrique Armendariz. And so he has some very beautiful photographs of women wearing hats. So come out and see the exhibit.